Hello and welcome back to Music Minute. I'm Kevin Barger here at Epiphany Lutheran Church in Richmond, Virginia. And we are looking at our hymns for online worship tomorrow, a little sneak preview if you will. We're going to go in all different order today. So we're going to start with What Wondrous Love Is This? And this is another anonymous hymn. There seem to be a lot of those lately, from the 19th century. And it first appeared in a Methodist hymnal, actually. And it's another Southern Harmony hymn, as will be another one that we're going to be doing a little bit later in tonight's music. This has haunting beauty quality to it. It's kind of minor and maybe a little freaky sounding a little bit at times. And one thing to note tomorrow when you are singing this online is the second stanza begins with, "When I was sinking down." And the entire accompaniment for that stanza tomorrow will actually be very dissonant, and it will make you just feel like you are being pulled down by quicksand almost. Similarly, tonight's Arioso and Fugue on Wondrous Love is going to have that same effect. So what you're going to hear are snippets of a melody that sounds, what wondrous love is this? You'll hear that a lot, but you'll just hear pieces of it. You're not going to hear the full hymn as it comes in. It focuses on the pain and the agony of finding that wondrous love, and maybe a little bit of what Jesus was going through as he was on the cross in this particular arrangement. Also should note that the four-part harmony that we see in our hymnal for this, which is actually hymn number 666, was written by Paul Christensen, and he is the son, or was the son, of the founder of the St. Olaf Choir. So this is Arioso and Fugue on Wondrous Love. through, you just feel like, oh, let it go on to the next phrase, let it go on to the next phrase, and it never quite gets there. So it's a really good symbolic nature and treatment of that. So we're going to move over to the piano now, and we'll go a little bit quicker with My Faith Looks Up to Thee, and that was written as a poem, and only 4 of the 6 verses of the poem are actually printed in the actual hymn. It was never intended to be a public hymn, and the tune, all of it, was actually written a couple of years after the poem had been written. So this particular note, history, trivia, useless facts probably, the last time we sang this at Epiphany was actually March 8th, 2020, which was our last normal worship service on a Sunday morning. So we'll put that in. We're going to go over to the piano. My Faith Looks Up to Thee. All right, and I'm going to move back again. My videographers love it when I do this. So I'm coming back over to the organ for, yes, Amazing Grace. And so this is another of those Southern Harmony hymns that I mentioned earlier with Wondrous Love. And it was written to marvel at that great gift of grace from God. Built largely on a small passage in the book of 1 Chronicles from the Bible. It was sparked by the thought of, "Oh God, you regard me as someone in high rank." And the first of the stanzas were written by John Newton, and that's the first 4 that you'll see in the hymnal if you're looking there. The 5th that appears is not one that was part of what John Newton had done. It is actually anonymous, and it was added later. And it actually originated as the appended stanza 10 to Jerusalem, My Happy Home. So it had nothing to do with Amazing Grace, and it was added and introduced later. So the tune, like many others that we've talked about, has had several other hymn texts prior to Amazing Grace, but I do think this is probably the one you would know it as. This is going to be a fantasy prelude on Amazing Grace, and so sometimes you have to hear a little bit more, but it's sort of that ethereal, open sound that you'll hear in here. So this is Amazing Grace. hopefully that gave you time to reflect and just relax. So thank you again for joining us tonight. If you are joining us tomorrow in person, please note that our times have changed. We will have 2 worship services tomorrow morning, and one is at 9 o'clock, the other is at 10:30. You do need to sign up before you come, so please check online for that. If you're joining online, that will be Facebook or YouTube at 10:30 as well. Thanks again for joining, and we'll look forward to being together again next week.